August 14th, 1945. The NBC listening post in New York reported that the Tokyo Dome More stations signed off 12:03 a.m. Seattle time after coding international messages. This is news because this channel presumably would be used by the Japanese for transmitting their reply to the Allied surrender dictates to burn. The FCC hinted that the broadcast would be something important at 9 p.m. Japanese time, that's 2 a.m. local Seattle time. And indeed, it looks like the Potsdam terms would be accepted. How, where, and when the surrender will take place is also important. Chinese experts are advocating the surrender of Japanese samurai swords as a strong psychological symbol. Japanese occupation plans have been drafted, and the mighty battleship Missouri is rumored to be the location of the formal surrender. Not only are they surrendering, but where and how we want. The Japanese war minister has committed suicide, and indeed, President Truman proclaims today as VJ Day. And while today marks the end of the war for us, our allies in the conflict are still fighting on. Report of Russian invasions into Manchuria continue as they continue to fight the Jap-occupied areas. Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek is teaming up with the communist leaders in China to try and regain control. I'm sure that'll go well. We'll see you again in 40 years, China. The British Socialist Plan. American money comes with strings. No socialist agenda. So does Britain want to become an American puppet state and take our money, or refuse our help and follow their popular socialist dreams? Only the future will tell. And a Nazi paratrooper was caught today in uniform, eagle, swastika and all. The weird part is where he was caught, in Arkansas. He escaped from a prisoner of war camp and wore his uniform to not be shot as a spy. I'm sure that'll make a great movie someday, no doubt. Hollywood? Hello? The Great Escape, they would call it, and it'd be about the heroic attempts of a young Nazi officer who... Okay, never mind. And an Austrian court today tried 4 SS men who were involved in a concentration camp right across the river from Bratislava. And speaking of Czechoslovakia, the girls there have left quite an impression on our boys. And today, Czechoslovak President Beneš nationalized the Czechoslovak movie industry. In case you're ever in Barandov in Prague, someday many a great Mission Impossible and James Bond movies will be shot there, whatever those are. French Marshal Henri-Philippe Pétain, former chief of the Vichy state, was today sentenced to death. General de Gaulle is expected to recommend clemency. Elsewhere in the world, not all dictators are gone. Argentines shout death to Franco. And Zionists demand a Palestine state to call home. And speaking of home, as we speak, Times Square is packed. And come down and join the celebrations right here at home in Seattle on 4th and Pike. We in Seattle have more reason than most to celebrate. It turns out, as the dust settles, report of NIP attacks on Washington state soil in 1941 had been declassified and published. The front was much closer than the public knew. These war balloons weren't needed after we got those Japs back to worrying about their own home islands, though. And not all were celebrating. Even as the war ends, report of the U.S. cruiser Indianapolis came in from off of the Philippines. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the 883 casualties. But already we must look to the future, and if the last days have shown us anything, it's that we should never again let this sort of atrocity happen. As we become familiar with the pictures arriving from Hiroshima, we see why. And these fine publications are brought to you by brands such as Kellogg's Corn Flakes and Heinz Vinegar. And now that the war is over, we can go back to focusing on the important things in life. The Cards winning over the Brooklyn Dodgers. And now we can also get back to the funnies. Do a cross quiz. In fact, now that the war is over and the boys are coming home, why don't we all just kick back, open a cool one, and listen to the History of Germany podcast.